right. Are we muted on the computer there? Perfect. Well, hello for yet another amazing episode we're about to bring to you guys. I'm here again with Eva. And today we're going to be talking about basically the first quarter wrap up, right, Eva?
Yeah, we're going to be getting into all the statistics, averages, what's going on in Ottawa. I think everybody's wondering, where's the numbers at? Like, what's going on? How is it?
How has it been? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 2025, I think it started with such a boom, right? Like, I mean, we were in the middle of the holidays, which is honestly my favorite time because that's usually when people kind of slow down and we can actually know for sure that nobody's going to be calling in, and we can actually put the phones aside and put the everything aside because nobody's going to be doing much. But this year it started with we were writing deals in the middle of the holidays, and we were going to showings and things like that. Of course, homes that were available, not the homes that weren't. Mm-hmm. So with that said, what happened afterwards in 2020? Because we were like, oh my gosh, this is the year. This feels like, I remember we were talking about it. We were like, this feels like 2020. You know, things are starting to kind of move and things like that. And
yeah, well, I just felt like we got a little bit of like warm weather for 2 weeks, and it was like absolutely insane.
Oh, I think that's what it was.
I felt like it was an early spring, and then it got chilly again, and then buyers kind of chilled. But now I feel like people are getting back into it. So for average home price in February 2025, the average selling price for a home in Ottawa was $669,945, reflecting a 2.9 increase compared to February 2024.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So I think this includes like all different styles, obviously not single family homes.
Oh, okay. This is all residential class is what it is?
Yeah.
Does it include free condominiums too?
I think so. I think so.
Oh, okay. And that's pretty low because I was like, for freeholds, that's pretty low for all of Ottawa to be there. Yeah. Exactly.
And single family homes, the price of those has reached $820,512. marking a 3.1% year-over-year rise.
Sorry, what was the number again?
820.
820, okay.
So
that makes more sense.
Yeah. Which, for a single-family home, I mean, it's all different styles. I don't think this includes, like, new construction at all.
But you are if you want to get into the single-family homes, something decent, not like something very old, but something decent is in the 800s. You're right. Yeah. All across Ottawa.
Townhomes experienced a 7.7% annual increase with the average price of $497. I thought this was so notable because, if you're looking to invest anywhere, you may be wondering, oh, should I do condominium? Well, I don't know. Should you? I mean, I don't really think so. I thought the money would be really in the single family department.
Well,
right?
Usually in the past is what we've seen, but it does make sense because as a single family home, prices in Ottawa go at a level where it's not attainable by most families, because prices have risen since like previous years, because previously they were like hovering around like 700, even like 600. I mean, I've been in the market for a while, so I remember it be very low in Ottawa, and there's more and more people that have moved from Toronto to Ottawa, so prices have gone up. But in specific in 2025 we saw again that it's starting to hit the $800,000 marks. Mm-hmm. And the ones that are affordable though are the townhomes, and that's like the freehold that you can get into as a starter home, which I think is great. Honestly, townhomes are amazing. It's especially like the executive townhomes. Now we have like the 3-story townhomes, the ones that you just, there is a garage, there's no backyard. Some of them do have a backyard though, by the way, but there are 3 stories. You enter in from the garage or from the main floor, and then that's where usually there's a bathroom and a and the laundry room, and then you have to take the stairs to get to the main level, and then another set of stairs to the 3rd level, which is the bedrooms. But like the 2-story executive homes is like my favorite go-to for somebody who is just starting out and just wants to get into home ownership, of course, if their budget allows.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at $580 because to me, if you're looking at the 2-story options, that is like pretty much on the low end. Like you're probably looking at like 1990s build.
Yeah.
And of course, like if you're looking for something more like 2020 or new, I think we're looking actually closer to the high 600s.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? 1990s, not so much, Eva. It's crazy because I was seeing that even the 1990s in certain areas, either in the West End or in the South End, they are well over 600s, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they're well into the 600s. Like if you look into like the Hunt Club area, I was surprised that the prices are like high 600s, well, mid to high 600s for 1990 to just early 2000s, which is nuts to me. Like it's like how, you know, why is it nuts is because when you're getting into a townhome that is of that age, at that point, if your roof wasn't already done, it's probably due for a second time around. Your furnace is definitely due because it's about 20 years, right? And then all these other things that you don't know, like you might, you know, suddenly have all of these, you know, different outdated systems in there that are needing to be changed, whether it's your plumbing or your electrical and what have you. So, yeah, that's, you know.
Yeah, that's it's funny because it is this kind of like touchy space because some people are like, well, I want to go new, and we go to the newest they could afford, which is not brand new, right? It would actually be sitting something like 2005, 2010, you know, something like that. And then we're in the space where it's like, well, actually, maybe you should go older because when things are, you know, they're so close to being like redone, it's almost better that you go older and they will have for sure been redone instead of you getting foot with the bill of new furnace, AC, windows, hot water tank, all of it because somebody's looking to offload their property before these bills become due.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, not too bad for like 580 is not bad for a freehold. And what else? And like that's like the go-to of everybody's that's getting into home ownership, I think, if you can get into that. And it's, I think townhomes, they not only are attractive to first-time home buyers, but they're also attractive to people that are moving up from a condominium class. So condominium class could be a condo apartment suite, or it could be a condo townhome. Yeah. Both of those will have condominium fees attached to it.
Yeah, I thought the most notable thing was that it was at a 7.7% increase. So, and when I, you know, look at this next statistic, which is the average price for condominiums was at $433,383, which is a modest 0.4% increase from the previous year.
Yes.
Because so many first-time home buyers, they're at the edge, right? Do I want to be more comfortable and look at the more attractive sale prices of a condominium? Should I make my first step that step? Mm-hmm. Or should I stretch myself and get into the residential class? With this statistic, it's obvious that if it's in your capability to stretch yourself a little bit, you should. You really should.
Yeah. I mean, this is a conversation I constantly have, and I'm sure you have, with people that are just getting into home ownership. Like, you need to get into home ownership because, you know, it's something I heard from one of my good friends. Home ownership is like an escalator. It keeps going up. So, like, the home that you like right now, in a few years, it's just going to be so much higher in terms of price. And if you don't get on the escalator, well, guess what? That step is going to be farther away from you. So the sooner you get into home ownership, it's easier for you to climb up because you build equity in your home. Whereas if you are renting, right, everything that you're paying is going towards pretty much somebody else's mortgage. You're not building equity in your home. You're just pretty much flushing your money down the toilet. That's that's how I see it. It's true.
Yeah.
If you're renting.
Yeah. So those were the prices and like the percentages there. I would say if you're looking between like freehold, residential, and condominium, like let's say you're looking at condo townhomes, the price to like borrow money, let's say at 3%, it's about $500 to borrow $100,000 per month, right? And that's kind of around what condominium fees are at, like about $500.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to like kick the condo class type of properties so much as well, because there is a reason for those as well. There are some beautiful condominiums here we have in Ottawa that have got the view. I always say to people, when you're looking at condominiums, there's 4 things you're looking for. One is obviously the location. You want to make sure it's in a location where it's desirable and safe. And then the other one is, if you're looking at a condominium, you want to make sure that you've got the view. Because it's all about the view. Like, I mean, if you're not if you are on the main floor, like of a townhome or a detached home or bungalow, you don't get to have that city view. So you need to have the view. The third thing are like the amenities. You know, making sure that the condominium does have the amenities. Like, what are those? It could be the rooftop terrace. Some of these condominiums have beautiful 360 view of the rooftop terrace, of the city. So you get to see the whole city, and you know, we have fireworks. I don't know if we still do, I don't know, but ever since COVID, I have no idea what's happening, but we do have fireworks, which is nice. And you know, you can even see the firework festival in La Clinie casino, so you get to see that. You get to enjoy, you know, doing the barbecues and things like that on the roof. But not only that, some of the condos come with like, you know, other things like pools, like gym. So that kind of cuts, if you end up using it, that cut costs from like your gym membership and things like that. And then the last but not least is obviously the actual condo unit and like what it has in terms of finishings, in terms of floor plan. You want to make sure it's modern, it's got everything that you need. Like, there are a lot of like crazy little condominiums being built all across in Toronto, as well as I've seen them in Ottawa, like that are super tiny, that literally have a, you know, the bedroom is like is with like these slider, you know what I'm talking about? With like slider doors.
The bedrooms have no window.
They have no window.
It's a closet.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to live that. And another thing I want to say about the view is that you gotta have not just the view, but have an unobstructed view, because you don't want to be in your condo doing whatever you're doing and dressing up however way you dress up in your home and have somebody else's window directly across from yours, you know what I mean? So those are the things, but there are some beautiful condominiums out there. There's a condominium I went to in downtown Ottawa. Their parking is like a puzzle parking. Do you know what those are? The puzzle parking?
No.
It's crazy. It's kind of like a vending machine. They have them in Asia, they have them in Europe, and like you just literally park your car, you bring your car into the garage, and then and I was so like amazed that Ottawa, by the way, had this. So you come in, you go into the garage, and then you make sure that everything is aligned in that whatever square
like you're
area.
in the square.
Yeah, and then you leave, and then you put in your parking, like your unit you are, and then off goes your car. Your car just goes down into this parking, and then they just put it wherever. And then whenever you want your car, you just like select your car to come back up and then you drive off. It's so cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some condominiums that, like, yeah, you can't compare it to a freehold, like, at all. In the area, the experience, like, definitely condominiums have their place.
I mean, you don't have to shovel snow. I'm telling you, like, my very first years in Canada with my family, we lived in condominiums, and, you know, every time it snows, I'm like, thank God my family did that, I swear. Can you imagine the immigrant to me, or like my dad or mom for that matter, holding a shovel and like trying to shovel the snow? We'd all break our backs. Like, no thank you. They're like, I mean, they're so good. Like, they cut your grass is always beautiful, you have beautiful flowers. It's nice, you know. I mean, I'm all for condominiums if that's what you want to do. Sure, you pay for it, but you know what, at the same time you get all of these amazing, you know, features with it. You know, you have concierge sometimes, so I'm okay with like condominiums.
And in locations that, you know, if you try to get something residential, would be millions of dollars, literally, or they just aren't there.
100%. And realistically, it's worth it at times because, look, if you are someone who likes to travel, you're a retiree, and you want to just like, you know, lock it up and go, you totally can. You just lock it up and go, and you know that everything's going to be right there where you left it. You know, the snow will be shoveled, everything will be nice, and you come back and enjoy. And, you know, I mean, that's definitely an option for myself when I'm retired, I'll tell you that. Of course, if my husband wants it as well, but I'm telling you, I'm sold. I'm obsessed. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So for sales activity, Ottawa reported 809 residential property sales in February 2025, which we only have February because March literally just ended, and now we're in April, so those aren't in yet, so we're talking about February, representing an 8.7 decline compared to February 2024. And the breakdown would be single-family homes are 393 units sold, down 13.2% year over year. Townhomes, 233 units sold, a 19.1% decrease from the previous year.
Wow.
Apartments, 163 units sold, showing a 16.4% increase compared to February 2024.
Which one is this? What kind of class? Sorry.
So apartments, there was 163 units sold.
Interesting.
Which is showing a 16.4% increase compared to February 2024.
Wow.
And like through us, you know, fiercely watching the market, I mean, when we look in the downtown area, it hovers kind of around 200, like 260, kind of, how many apartment units are usually available.
Yeah.
So having 163 sold,
that's good.
I mean, that's a lot.
Is that the whole quarter or just like 1 month?
I think
this is just for
this
February?
is for February.
Wow.
Talking about February.
You know what? That makes sense to me though. You know why? Because there are more people having to go back to work. And so people are coming back to the core, the city core, as well as there's a lot of parents from out of city that are preparing for a space for their kids.
Yeah.
That are going to Ottawa U or what have you, and they want them to be here. Do we have retirees that are moving into these areas as well? Yes, we do. We have retirees who love to be in these condominiums as well. They're downsizing for different reasons. Like, they don't need to do all of those maintenance. Like, honestly, some of these retirees, when I see them, and they're like, you know what, like, I'm just so tired having to do all of this work inside my home. It makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
So.
For new listings, February 2025 saw 1,668 new residential listings, which is a 4.8% increase from the same month in 2024. So we're having more listings in February, which makes sense for an early spring, if that's what we're thinking. Active listings, the number of active listings reached 3,735 units, up 61.4% year over year, indicating a significant rise in available inventory.
Yeah.
And for months of inventory, there were 4.6 months of inventory at the end of February 2025 compared to 2.6 months in February 2024, suggesting a shift towards a more balanced market.
Okay. So, I mean, that's what it says. There is a lot of different factors affecting our market right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the tariffs have been a new COVID that has been introduced to our marketplace that is affecting what people are thinking in terms of whether they should get into the market or get out of the market. There is also the idea of elections that's coming up end of April, which is going to be really interesting to see how that is going to affect our market specifically, because this is such a government town. This is a federal, election. So that is going to definitely have an impact on our market. And then, of course, the interest rates, like there's 3 different factors that are currently affecting our market very, very closely. And so to see what's going to happen, a lot of people are like, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think? And I'm like so usually good with like being able to predict what is going to happen. But in this scenario, I don't know. I'm just for me, I think that at the end of the day, like buyers should still, like, this is a great time for buyers, because it's always during uncertainties where if somebody is certain about what it is that they want to do, they always come out winners. Mm-hmm. If they have a plan, if you have a plan, you always come out a winner. So if you're a buyer and you're like, I need a home because I'm tired of paying rent, I've been waiting and waiting, like there's a pent-up demand as well, right? Like the interest rates kept going up for like 8 consecutive times, and it's like at this point the buyers are like, okay, like I keep waiting and waiting, and then now the rates are dropping, like I need to get into a home now. And to me, they're the smartest buyers, because if they can get into a home right now, no matter what, they're going to win, because it is uncertainty. It's not only uncertainty for the buyers, it's also an uncertain time for sellers. Like sellers want to sell, right? Mm-hmm. There was also a pent-up demand for the sellers. So we're having conversations with sellers that are like, yeah, you know what? I've been wanting to sell. I feel like the market is better now. Let's get it going. And the sellers that will be able to sell their homes are the ones that are realistic in their expectations. Like the conversations we're having with sellers back in 2023 was not realistic, because their mindset was like, well, I saw my neighbor sold like $2 million, so I'm expecting $2 million. Well, no, I'm sorry, nobody's spending $2 million right now with this interest rate, right? Mm-hmm. Prices have corrected. But now, now is the time where those sellers are like, okay, you know what, I understand what's happened in the marketplace, and I feel more comfortable to come into the marketplace. So I think even the sellers that have a plan, that know what they're doing, that want to get out for whatever it is that they want to get into, this is a good time as well. So I think like, if you're a buyer, this is a very good time, because look, if there are going to be tariffs, then you know what, everything inside a home, just look at it like you have appliances. All the appliances, most of them are American built, right? There's some kind of American something in there. Even if you're building a home, right? So it could be like your faucets or what have you, lights, you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of time, prices are going to go up. And so right now is an opportunity for you to get into the marketplace. And I think that sellers are feeling more comfortable too, because they know that buyers can actually afford because of the interest rates. So, but then, the elections are coming. And people are like, wondering how that's going to affect everything. I remember like during COVID, it was like, you know, in the midst of like lockdown, and we were talking with buyers, and oh my gosh, should we continue with the sale because it's conditional? Should we continue with the sale? And we're like, yeah, continue with the sale. People will still need a home. And then once everybody started realizing, oh my gosh, like I could just like fix up my home and sell it for so much. So everybody started to get into the mindset of, okay, let's just get a home. Let's just buy a home. Mm-hmm. You know, and builders were having such a blast because they were like selling them at like cupcakes. You know?
Yeah.
And then, because people were like, by the time they get the key, there was already like $200,000 increase in their home. Remember that?
Yeah.
But it's like people realized that it was a good investment. It was a good direction only after everybody ended up going that way. But the real winners were those that actually took the decision and went with their own plan of home ownership. That's what I think. So I think buyers, you cannot lose, that's for sure. And then sellers, you know, if you had to sell, it's not a bad market. We're still seeing multiple offers. If it's priced correctly, presented well, and of course, market it.
Yeah, I just feel like the homes that are, you know, presented appropriately, priced appropriately, all of this, they are still getting multiple offers. It's like when people say that the top 20% of whatever industry do 80% of the business. And it's like, when you're buying a home, it's so like feeling oriented. Like, yeah. I'm telling you, the same house that gives you butterflies is giving everybody else butterflies too. It's like, why when a whole town could be single, why does everybody always want to date the same people, right? Yeah. So if you're a seller, I wouldn't be like discouraged about the competition because it may or may not be a factor for you, rising inventory of these kinds of things. But I think if you're a buyer, I think like you should focus on operating strategically.
I think this is like a golden time period, and it's not going to last long. I know I've had this conversation if some of our like past buyers are watching this, and some of them do, that have purchased in 2023 or 2024. And they're like, you know what, that's what you said back in 2023 and 2024. I'm like, yeah, but look, I can do a comparative market analysis on your home, and I can tell you that you have gained, okay? Majority of the ones that I know, they still are able to sell for more than what they purchased for, okay? There's maybe like a 1% chance of them that, you know, they should hold on to the property longer. But at the end of the day, like if you hold on to your property, you're going to make money. And right now is, I would say, this is my prediction, and like, you know, we'll see. But I always like to make predictions. I think that, you know, if all things being what if I don't know how to say it, but I think like, I feel that if the market is the way it's going, without any craziness outside of what it is that we've seen so far, I think that prices will still go higher, okay? Because one thing that's for sure, outside of all of these other factors, is that we still don't have enough homes being built for everybody. So the supply itself is still not enough. And because of that very fact, I think prices will start to go up. And this is probably the last golden opportunity for buyers to get themselves through the door without having to go through the craziness. Because I do think that there is going to be craziness coming into the marketplace. It's just a matter of time.
I think so too. And people think that these other circumstances, you know, they're going to make it so hard, and then our marketplace somehow, prices are going to decrease. People are going to, you know, ditch the dream of being a homeowner. It's not going to happen. Like every time our marketplace sees stress, prices go up. Every time our Canadian dollar sees stress, our prices go up,
Yeah.
right? And it's just people think they have a lot of opportunity with their money. Oh, well, you know, what do I do? Do I put in stocks? Do I put it in homes? Do I put it in whatever? I don't know what you do, but don't keep it in your bank account.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Right.
yes. I want to say one thing, like one of my pet peeves, if I may, like we were talking about this the other day. You know, we go talk to certain sellers out there in the marketplace, right? And then they're like, yeah, you know what, give us like a market evaluation. What do you think our home's worth? We want to sell our home. And, you know, they go and, rightfully so, they go and interview a bunch of agents. And they're like, you know what, yeah, that agent came in and, you know, said that, let's say the price of my home was worth this much more, and somehow, you know, they love the price that that agent came up with as a result of the previous sales that took place in that same area, right? So it's like, but like they didn't like our pricing, or even though, like, maybe, no, they liked our pricing, but because the other agent was like, oh, you know what, I'm showing you these comparables, and that's what it was, right? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, when you're talking to an agent, like, it's not just, like, finding out what your home is worth. It's not just that. It's like, can your agent increase, like, are they trained enough? Are they do they know what they're doing? Do they have enough tools in their box of tools to be able to increase the valuation of the sale of your home? And what do I mean by that? Let's just talk about that a little bit, because I think, like, sellers don't understand that piece. They think, like, okay, well, all agents can just throw it onto the MLS and that's it, that's all. That is, like, this little piece out of, like, this huge thing that takes place as a real estate agent, right? Like, you know, especially as a listing agent, that, you know, that agent needs to do. Like, putting it on the MLS, that's a given. You can do it. If that's what you are wanting to do, please go ahead and do it. There are, I think, companies that do it for like $1 value, like a one-time fee. You can just put it on the MLS. But that's not what you want as an agent. You want an agent that not only is competent for that piece, which is, again, the most simplest thing, but also has tools in which, if that doesn't work, there's other ways. And let's not forget about, like, negotiations with other agents. You know, there's a lot of conversation that goes behind what you see as a homeowner and home buyer, right? Yeah. Between their agents, and, like, what kind of reputation some agents have between their colleagues. Those are all so important. Like, there are agents out there that, you know, there are other agents that never want to deal with because of the way they communicate. Just the way they communicate. They don't communicate fast enough. Sure. They don't communicate, you know, transparent enough. They have been caught lying several times, you know, in the past, in other deals, that now you feel like, okay, like, you know, I'm starting to see a pattern. This person, last time they said they would do this, but they came at this. So, like, there's no merit to anything else you say. You know what I mean? And that goes for agents too. Like, you know, so many times they just say stuff and, like, they think, oh, you know, they don't, like, oh yeah, we're gonna come at this price, and then they come much lower than what they said on the phone. It's like, dude, you lied to me on the phone. That means that I cannot trust you. That means that what comes out of your mouth cannot be trusted. You know?
Yeah. What I mean? I think there's the way that I really think about it, whether it be on the buy side or whether it be on the sale side, is that you need to have skill on creating a certain environment. Mm-hmm. And when I'm on the buy side, right, people ask me questions like, generally, if a price is priced at this price, do we come in at that price, or do we come in higher, or we come in lower? The answer is always, well, it depends on the situation, right? Are we in multiple offers? Do they have showings? Do they have this? Do they have that? And as a listing agent, that means that there's an opportunity for you there. How is the situation perceived? What does it seem like what's going on? Right?
Yes.
Doesn't mean lie. No.
Yes.
That doesn't mean lie. But it means like based on your marketing, timing, answering calls, emails, whatever, maybe you should answer fast. Maybe you shouldn't answer fast.
Yeah.
And I think you're like paying for the expertise that comes at every step of the game, if you should pivot or not. So that's the thing. I mean, putting it up on the MLS, that's a low-level marketing tool. Price, that's a low-level marketing tool as well. But it's what comes after that.
And there's many scenarios where, there's a lot that comes after that. There are agents that will call a listing agent, just to give you guys like a backstage pass as to what kind of conversations happen. And then, like, honestly, call me out if I'm, if there's any discrepancy in what I say than reality. There's times where, agents call other agents, and there's conversations that, somehow give extra information that's not necessary, It could be from the listing agent. Oh yeah, the seller really has to sell. Like, the seller really has to sell, or else this would happen. Like, I mean, what do you think I'm going to do as a buyer agent at that point? Like, of course I'm going to use that to the benefit of my buyers, right? I mean, maybe sometimes the sellers, are okay for you to share that information. But as an agent, as a listing agent, as somebody who is, yes, you have a vested interest, but you're also here to guide them through this process. You have to tell them, okay guys, I appreciate you telling me this and you want me to share, but I highly advise against it, I think we're fortunate that our sellers are very realistic in their expectations, and they say, oh, you know what, it's okay, just let it go at like whatever, and we're here to tell them, like, no, this is where we need to be. Like, that's the kind of conversations we're having with sellers. Oftentimes it's the opposite, where it's like the agent, you gotta drop the price, like, it's like, well, if it's like $1, everybody can like sell it too. Like, let the seller put it on on the MLS and just get it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, so I think that it's important as a seller when you're hiring someone to don't just rely on what's on paper. Like, get a feel for I think it's a lot more than that. You need the whole package. You know what I mean? It's like dating someone. You're just like, oh, you know what, they look good. But like, man, maybe they got like not the best resume, not the best personality, not the best work. You know what I mean?
I think that, one thing is about like how well do they know the numbers, for sure. Like, oh, I want somebody that knows the neighborhood, this and that. But ultimately, like, I think if you want to just put it up on the MLS, you're going to get the price that you deserve. If you think the price that you deserve is based on past sales, and then that's the only indicator of a way that you're going to get your price, then maybe you should put it up yourself. But if
that is not the only thing, though. That's the thing.
That's exactly what I want to say. It's like, you need somebody with a high emotional intelligence that's extremely aware about how a situation is going to be read, how they come across, what they're saying, how they're saying it, but also, I guess there's just some things about it that you can't put into words of like the competence, because the small things, they do matter. Like, if an agent follows up a little bit too much, like, what are you? Desperate?
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we have to read the room. We have to read the situation. And every situation, every buyer, every agent that's coming through is very different. And, you know, the only way to go about it is through experience. Like, nothing. And you know what? That's the thing. I got to say a little something about experience. So, you know, the other day, I'm not going to obviously name names, but we had an agent who called me very maliciously saying that they've been in the business for 20 years. They've never seen, you know, like, let's say they were like, what were they talking about? They've never
seen it done, how we do it.
Yeah, they've never seen it, how it's done, how we do it. Like, why are we like not doing the traditional way? And that they've been in the business for 20 years. And, you know, so on paper, if you say, okay, well, this person has been in the business for 20 years and Anna's been in the business for 15 years, well, I guess the guy that's like, or the gal that's like 20 years is better, right? But the thing is, like, how many people have you interacted with successfully in the past 20 years versus the past, this other person at 15 years or 5 years or 2? Like, it doesn't matter, right? It's like, how many people have you dealt with in the past 30 days, let's say? Mm-hmm. It's like kind of like doing a comparable of a property with all the sales in the past 30 years versus 30 days, right? Yeah. It's like apples and oranges. So when it comes to experience, like, of course, nothing triumphs experience. There are brand new agents that just got their license and they think, oh my gosh, I got this, I can do this. Like, you gotta pay your dues. We've all done it. You gotta pay your dues. Or, you know, be with a team that has already and can guide you through it. And paying your dues is sometimes meaning that, yeah, you got to be part of the team. You gotta do that split. But you know what? You're gonna be safe, right? Mm-hmm. So, experience is the most important thing. But you have to also understand, like, what was that experience like? Like, how many people are you currently talking to, working with? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think like being able to pivot is so important, because even how things are happening right now, mm-hmm. like even the kind of posts, right? Like, oh, if you're posting how you did a year ago, like, it's out of date. Like, things are out of date. It's like, oh, 20 years ago. So you were operating what before? No, like, I'm gonna be a little crazy. What, before Google?
Yeah, but I mean, even social media algorithm changes every single day. Like, well, not every single day, but like every once in a while, at least, like, I don't know, a couple of times a month or whatever. You know, we have updates with these different tools.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to be on the note of like, oh, 20 years ago to today, it's like, I hear stories about, yeah, I just posted my home on the cork board at the grocery store and it's sold. Mm-hmm. You know, is that the tools we want to use today because they're 20 years old?
Yeah.
Or you want to pivot?
Yeah. So that's really, really important to take note of as well. But yeah, so I don't know, I wanted to talk about that because it's something that I think it's worth mentioning, if, you know, for our viewers that are investing their time to listen in, and like to give you some value out of this, to give you some insider scoop as to, you know, how to go about this, how to make more informed decisions. I think I was the one that kept using that word a lot, and it's now become so prominent in how other agents I hear talk. Like, informed decisions. I'm going to give you all the information so that your family, you can make an informed decision for you and your family, you and your loved ones. However way, like, I mean, I want to make sure that you have the right information and not just like going with whoever is telling you, you know, so. That's that.
So the conclusion is that the Ottawa real estate market in the first quarter of 2025 reflects a landscape of rising home prices amidst the declining sales activity and increasing inventory. So even though there's less sales and more inventory, they say prices are still going up.
Mm-hmm.
With, I think, on that note, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These trends suggest a move towards a more balanced market, offering opportunities for both buyers and sellers to navigate the evolving conditions. Also, what's notable is the Bank of Canada's next interest rate announcement is on April 16th.
Oh, so in about a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And market expectations, as implied by the Canadian overnight repo rate average, suggest a 61% likelihood that the policy rate will remain at 2.75%. And a 39% chance of a reduction to 2.5% at this meeting.
Personally, I think it is going to drop to 2.5% because I'm not just looking at Ottawa, because we also have a grip on the Toronto real estate market. The Toronto real estate market is doing they have had the most correction. Like the bigger markets, right? Toronto and Vancouver, they've had the most correction in the marketplace. So I think that given that those two also are the two markets that are the bigger markets, exhibit like the most of the population in Canada, I think that the Bank of Canada will drop it by another 0.25. I think the reason why they did 0.25 as opposed to the 0.5 was to have them, to give themselves more room for a reduction rather than do a whole half a point reduction. I think they just wanted to see how this is going to be, is this going to create a flurry of activity? And obviously didn't. It's just there's no fury of activity in the marketplace. We have, it's still slow and steady, and the markets that were having a hard time, they're still having a hard time. Builders aren't building, and of course, if builders aren't building, but we still have the population out there looking. Maybe they're looking into the rental markets, but investors aren't purchasing to rent either. So we will have a housing crisis. So with that said, I think that they would still do a reduction of 0.25 to just give it a little bit more push, and honestly they have ways to go given what's happening in the marketplace right now, to not only help with sales of resales, but also help builders and incentivize builders to get going on building.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens. End of April. I think that at the end of the day, we all have a chance to voice our opinion, and let Canada vote and decide who we think should take the next the helm. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that is going to really make an impact on Ottawa's real estate market big time, because we are the federal city, and we're the government town, and it's just going to be so interesting. It's I think I can say that all of us, if you're Canadian, all of us are in a all of us are feeling this, I guess, nervousness of what is happening and what's going to happen on the 28th. All of us are just bracing, no matter which side you're going for. All of us have this this anticipation of what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, when it comes to home ownership, I gotta say, home ownership, you still need a home, and with uncertainty there's always opportunity. And if you're looking to get into home ownership this is an opportunity for you, and we're here to help. I want to say thank you so much for this amazing episode, but also thank you for following us. Make sure you subscribe if you find this interesting. Share it with your friends and family. And Eva, last words before we wrap this up?
Yeah, just thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you being here, and we hope to see you next week. Bye for now.